Good morning, everyone. We'll give just a few more minutes for folks to join in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to be talking about market research for federal opportunities. I'm Jordan with the Monterey Bay Apex Accelerator and the Monterey County Business Council. Welcome. All right. Good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jordan Caballero, one of the procurement counselors here at Monterey Bay Apex Accelerator, and we're going to share just some great strategies for doing market research at the federal level. I'm also joined by my colleague, Rhonda DeVito. She'll be joining us later to add her insight after many years of experience in the government contracting space. So we're going to team up together to share this information with you this morning, and we're glad that you're here. So a little bit about the Apex Accelerator. We are administered by the Monterey County Business Council here locally. We have an office in Salinas, but we not only serve the Central Coast, we also serve the other counties in the Central Valley. We're funded by the Department of Defense since 1985, and there's about 96 centers across the U.S. and territories, with 7 here within California. Our primary mission is to promote economic growth and employment opportunities here within the small business community. And we help facilitate that with access to government marketplace at the federal, state, and local level. So Monterey Bay Apex Accelerator, we serve a 14 county region of the Central Coast and Central Valley. So you'll see it here, the counties that are in the middle there in teal. So that's Alpine, Amador, Fresno, Kings, Madera, Mariposa, Merced, Monterey, San Benito, San Joaquin, Stanislaus, Santa Cruz, Tulare, and Tuolumne. And if for whatever reason you're on this call and you're not in one of those counties, that's totally fine. We can refer you to one of our partners in the other regions. So speaking of partners, um, these are some of the services that we provide as your partner. We provide confidential client services, including one-on-one counseling, so pre-award assistance, which basically means helping you find opportunities, review opportunities and solicitations, helping you develop what's called a capability statement, which is basically a 1 or 2 pager. It's the industry standard. It's like a combination of your business card and your website, your resume, all rolled into one to basically show the government buyers what it is that you do. Post-award assistance. So a lot of times during a contract, there may be a discrepancy or an issue or a conflict. If you don't win the contract, there may be a debrief, a protest that you want to file and say, hey, we feel that we were treated unfairly, or why was the reason that we didn't get the contract? We can help you with some of that aspect. So we do outreach events. We have our own event coming up here in Salinas at the National Steinbeck Center, September 18th, the second annual Central Coast Procurement Expo. We hope you can join us for that. We'll have local agencies that are hiring for procurement, from the counties to the cities to the universities, and some of the prime contractors like Caltrans, an agency, and as well as Granite Construction, a prime contractor. People like that you'll have a chance to rub elbows with and get to know them better and understand what opportunities there may be for your business. We also do at least 1 or 2 of these training or webinars every month, and these are free to attend. And also, just so you know, please take notes or pictures if you like, but you don't have to, because we will be sending you these slides and also a recording so that you can share that for yourself and for your team. One of the other services that we provide is bid matching. And what that is basically is we have a software that we include at no cost that scours the internet for all the different procurement opportunities and organizes them to daily or weekly emails in your inbox that basically are based on the keywords or the codes that you choose for your business, so you can get updates and see if they make sense. So now it's free service that we provide, but in some cases, some of the links that you might click might ask you to pay to see the information. And at that point, that's a business decision for you to make. So we also help you navigate certification programs. So things like woman-owned small business, TBE, service disabled veteran, 8A hub zone, et cetera. We help you with those SBA certifications because that may be a differentiator for you and your business. So also, we are your tax dollars at work. There is no fees. There is no commitment to work with us. We simply ask that you sign up as a client. Therefore, we can track our conversations and our progress, but we're never charge you for anything. There may come a point where you may want to hire a firm to help you, but I say that you should exhaust all free resources while you can as a business owner. So Apex Accelerator is one of those. And another one of those is our friend and sister agency, the Central Coast Small Business Development Center. So here locally in Monterey and San Benito County, the Central Coast Small Business Development Center serves there, but we also have a network across kind of the UC Merced Central California network that basically serves all of the same counties that we do. So what the Small Business Development Center does, they're a national program with over 1,000 locations. They help stimulate economic growth through business development. The one locally here serves Monterey and San Benito County. And part of what they do, similar to us, but they're more who you would go to first, right? We work with more established businesses that are ready to go to the next level of government contracting. But if you have an idea or you're just getting started, we do recommend that you work with the Small Business Development Center because they can provide professional, no fee, no obligation business consulting, training, and resources for small businesses, which include sourcing funding, business planning, social media marketing, and much more. So if you're thinking about potentially getting a loan or a line of credit, they can help you develop a loan package for the SBA. And if you're just getting started and maybe you don't have a business degree and you need support with a business plan for your business and putting all those things together, whether it's marketing, whether it's incorporation, whether it's hiring, we have a great resource of multilingual counselors who have a lot of experience that can help you. So that's, again, no cost, no obligation, and you can sign up with them at centralcoastsbdc.com. Or if you're outside of San Benito or Monterey County, just check out the SBDC network for Central California, and there's definitely one that will serve near you. So our agenda today, we're going to talk about the purpose of doing market research. We're going to share about SAM.gov, about USAspending.gov, about the Small Business Administration's Dynamic Small Business Search, about the Federal Procurement Database, and also private sector opportunities. So just know that typically the government doesn't want to be your first customer, but the federal government is spending billions of dollars every year, thousands of opportunities. And so there's definitely an opportunity potentially for your product or service, but this is how you can do some of that research to find out if this makes sense for you and your business. And we can support you in this process. So the purpose of research is to figure out a few key questions, right? Who buys what you sell? How do they buy what you sell? And are you going to be better off as a prime contractor or as a subcontractor? Who are your competitors? So those are some things to really understand. Obviously, the Department of Transportation or Caltrans, they're dealing with a lot of road construction and all the related companies that are going to be working in that industry. So think about that, really identify, doing a self-assessment of what it is that you've done in the past, because past performance is the most important thing when it comes to government contracting. What skills do you bring to the table? What references and referrals do you have? And we're going to dig into it a little bit further. So with SAM.gov, it stands for System Award Management. And this is basically where all of the agencies within the federal government, so that's everything coming out of Washington, D.C., this is where they're posting their opportunities, their contracts. They're legally required to post things here. And they do it in a few different formats. But one of the key things that we help you do, we help you register with SAM.gov, and that's a bit of a process, and we're here to help you through it step by step. We recommend that you work with one of our counselors to do it. You're free to do it on your own, but we do it so often that we can help you avoid any snags or hiccups. So the NAICS code stands for North American Industry Classification, and the PSC is Product Service Code. Basically, based on the industry that you're in, let's say you're in construction, or let's say you're in janitorial or landscaping or painting, or let's say you sell office supplies, IT, software, whatever it is, each one of those categories has a code. So there's general category codes, and then there's like subcategories and more specific codes. Also, keywords are important. So as you're looking, you imagine there's, millions of codes and millions of opportunities, you want to make sure that you help kind of filter and narrow down your search. And so we help you identify based on the industry that you're in, which codes are and keywords are appropriate. So while you're looking on SAM.gov, you can also save searches. So as you're looking through opportunities, you can save searches so that you'll get notifications on similar opportunities. You can also follow a particular solicitation. And what that does is it allows you to see any amendments or modifications. So for instance, let's say you find an opportunity that's really relevant to you. You want to make sure that you follow it because let's say it's not due for a month or two, but within that month or two, there's been some changes to the requirements or to the due date or to the expectations. Well, if you're going on the original post that you saw and you're not following the updates, that might cause you to miss that opportunity because you weren't following the most recent information. So make sure that you want to follow um, all solicitations that make sense to you that you're interested in so that you can get all the updates. So when you go to sam.gov, this is kind of what it looks like here. You get started. Now, if you don't have a login.gov, you may need to create one, and you just create a login. It's going to give you authentication. It's going to give you a two-factor authentication password. You're able to get in and create an entity. So if your business is already an entity, like you're an LLC or you're an S corp, you're a C corp, then you're going to set up a sam.gov profile for that entity using your tax ID number and those kind of things. If you are a sole proprietor and you're just an individual, you're going to be using your personal name and potentially your personal social, and just keep that in mind. So with usaspending.gov, it's kind of a sister site to sam.gov. And what that is the federal government, because these are public, these are tax dollars that they're spending on different services and different ways that they're running the agency. They have to track that. They have to share that information. Not only are the contracts public, but also how they spend them. That's also public. And the nice thing about that is it allows you to do research on which agencies are buying what services and how much they're spending and what their fiscal year looks like, what their cycles look like, which companies are getting those contracts. So there's some filters that you can use when you go to USA Spending. Time period. So personally, I like to use fiscal years. So like, let's say fiscal year 2024, which just ended, or 2025, or about halfway through. You can see what's the most recent, because maybe 10 years ago, maybe that information is not really relevant to you or your business, right? But within the last 6 to 24 months, that could be very relevant to your business because that contract might be expiring soon, or they might be buying it every month or every 6 months or every year. So you want to use time period to filter your search. You want to use those codes and keywords we talked about to help you decide, in my industry, in this time frame, and in this location, we recommend, depending on the type of business you're in, if you're maybe in a service that can be done remotely, or you're in a product that can be shipped, then you're nationwide. But if you're like a contractor that physically does physical labor or janitorial or landscaping, something like that, then you probably want to keep it, initially, you want to keep it to just California because it might not be worth it for you to travel to another state to perform a contract. So you can, make the location to your zip code, to your city. We recommend just state of California. And then type of set aside. What that means is when you go through and you get those certifications, the women owned, the veteran owned, the minority owned, whatever the case may be, sometimes there's contracts that are completely set aside for that certification, right? So a lot of the projects coming out of the Veterans Administration, they'll only go to veteran owned or service disabled veteran owned companies. In other cases, it might be a construction project, and they might say, out of 100%, 5% of this project needs to go to, a veteran owned or to a woman owned company. And so having that certification can help you in that regard, but you want to make sure that that certification has set asides in your industry and your NAICS code. So in some cases, it might make sense for you to get that code because there's a lot of work for those set asides. In other cases, there's none. And so it might not make sense for you to take the time to get that certification. We can help you kind of determine that. This is what the USA Spending homepage looks like. So just here's some highlights here at the bottom of the screen. You see it says, so far this year, the federal government plans to spend 6.3 trillion, including almost 30 billion in agriculture, almost 16 billion in energy, almost 1 trillion on Medicare. So if you're in any of those industries, you can dig deeper to see how the federal government is already spending that money. And then you can find potential collaborators, you can find potential points of contact that is part of your market research journey. So here's more of what USA spending looks like. You see here on the left, you can click the fiscal year as for the date range. You can download the data, you can explore the data. All these things we can help you do. So when you sign up with us as a client, part of our one-on-one is going through these kind of sites together and making sure you're equipped. So another thing is called the dynamic small business search through the SBA. So what this is great is any of the companies that have those SBA certifications, you can find them here, right? So you can identify your competition. You can search for things like 8A firms or HubZone firms or women-owned small businesses. You can look at their capability narrative comparison, their UEI and their CAGE code. So these are some things that you can use. Also not only for competition, but for potential teaming partners. So using this SBA search, you're able to find other companies like yourself who have gone through the process of registering in SAM, they've gone through the process of getting certified with the SBA. And then again, either they are your competition or they potentially are a partner that you can team up with. And it's just a great way to do research. And we recommend that when you sign up, you make your information accessible because the federal agencies and buyers are using these same sites to find companies as well. So this is what the small business search website kind of looks like. And it's a way for you can type in the name of the company, the UEI number, which stands for Unique Entity Identifier, which is what you'll get when you sign up for SAM, or the CAGE code, which is what you'll get when you sign up for SAM. And both of those are what you need to pursue contracts in the federal space. So this is just another way to search through the SBA. So here's an example of some searches here. Location, California. This is the next code there, 236210. And so this is like general contractors looks like, and it just shows you here. Here's the capabilities narrative. Here's the point of contact. Here's their address. So you might find a company there and say, hey, they're in my town. I've never even heard of these guys. Maybe we should link up and maybe they want to connect because government contracting isn't always easy. And sometimes it's nice to have partners and we can kind of help facilitate some of those conversations. Another great tool and resource is the Federal Procurement Data System, or FPDS.gov. And then basically, it's another way to research information, research companies. Here you go right here. This is what it looks like when you go to that website. So it kind of looks like Google in a way. And this is, it kind of has the look of an older site, but it's actually very informative and has a ton of useful information. So we suggest you take the time to get to know this site. And it'll give you a chance to find, again, companies that are out there getting these contracts and more data and more opportunities for you to do your market research. This is what it looks like when you're doing some research on the federal database here. You see the contracts that they've won, you see the information about the company. And again, this is all government and public information, and so it allows you to do this research, which is very valuable. It's a great advantage to be able to do this research. It's time consuming, but it's definitely something that can be helpful for your business. So here are some takeaways that hopefully you got from this. And of course, we're going to take some time here to go through some questions. Also, my friend Rhonda that will be joining us in a minute. But NAICS codes, we got to figure out what your NAICS PSC codes are and your keywords. So based on the type of business that you have, those codes are going to be important, and we can help you identify which codes are relevant to your business. So within SAM.gov, we here at Apex, we can help you register with SAM.gov, and we can help you set up multiple searches. So let's say you're a contractor and you want to set up, construction or remodel or hospitals or road construction or whatever the keywords that are relevant to you. We'll help you set up those searches within SAM. You want to follow the opportunities that are really relevant or the agencies that are really relevant to what you do. We have a client in the Fresno area and they really want to focus on their veterans. They really want to focus on building VA hospitals. So those are the kind of opportunities they're going to follow. USAspending.gov, it's a great way to find competitors or possible primes to work with. SBS is good for finding competitors and possibly who they're selling to. And the FPDS, it details specific contracts, but no unit costs. So a lot of times people will ask us, well, how much should I charge and what should my price be? And that's kind of your job as the contractor. You know your costs, and through these opportunities, you can do some research to see maybe what your competition is charging. It may not tell you specifically, but you can kind of reverse engineer the information. And so we definitely can help you with some of that as well. So here's some links. Again, you're going to get a copy of this recording. You're going to get a copy of these slides. And these are those sites that we really recommend that you start with. You can spend a lot of time on these sites. We can help you get on there and help you navigate them. But it's going to take, if you're serious about working in the federal marketplace, you need to really get to know these sites. So that's SAM.gov, USAspending.gov, certifications.sba.gov, and fpds.gov. Those you need to have in your favorites tab, you need to have on your homepage, and you need to be checking them regularly if you are serious about federal contracting. So here's some final thoughts, and then we'll bring on Rhonda to share as well. So paralysis by analysis. A lot of times people try to perfect their first proposal. They try to get everything exactly perfect. And sometimes there's information that you don't know. You do your best to read through the solicitation, and they'll usually tell you line by line exactly what they want you to do. And you just prepare your proposal and you send it and you do the best that you can. And it's better to get more repetition by submitting multiple offers than it is by trying to get one offer to be exactly perfect, because you may not always have all the information that you need. So you do your best to do the market research on companies and on agencies to understand what they're looking for. One of the things we also say is watch out for scams. So all those sites that we mentioned, those are all legitimate sites. Things like .gov or .mil for the military, those are all legitimate government sites. None of them are most likely going to contact you or try to charge you for anything. So once you register for some of these sites, though, there are other companies. Some are legitimate, some are scams that are out there that are going to find your information. They're going to try to call you or try to charge you to register you in SAM. I just had a client who just joined us, but last year she hired somebody for $3,500 to help them register in SAM, and we do that for free. So if you're ever unsure, you're free to send us an email. You're free to give us a call, and we can help you avoid some of those scams. So if you're ever not sure, try to make sure that the email is .gov or .mil, and if not, send it to us, and we can help you decipher that. So one of the things we want you to know as well, before we get into questions, is that next week we have on August 14th another upcoming webinar. Please save the date. And that's on market research for state of California opportunities. Today we talked about federal opportunities. Next webinar is going to be about the state of California, both of which are great, both of which have a lot of different sites and information that you can use. So you can go to our website, which is montereyapex.org, go under events, and sign up for the webinars there. You don't have to be a client to attend the webinars, but we also recommend that if you're a business owner that you join us as a client. So that's most of what I had today. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat. And we'll get to answer them. My name is Jordan Caballero, but this is our contact info for our program manager, Victor Valdez. You can email us at apex@mcbc.biz. Again, go to our website or call that number. And before we let you go, I'm going to look at the questions here if you guys have any, and also bring on Rhonda to share any insight that she might have. Take it away, Rhonda.
Thank you, Jordan. Hello, everyone, and good morning. I just want to add a few comments that things we've been seeing and a few things that have changed. Many of you know the small business system that is operated by the SBA that Jordan showed you. We have been knowing it for like forever as the dynamic small business search system, as the DSBS. If you've been looking for that link, it is still works, but it brings you to the new SBS page. And you'll note on the SBS page at the top in big black bold warning letters, it says there's a scam going around nationwide and it's scaring people because it's very intense, trying to get them to believe that certified.us is a legitimate place, which it is not. And like Jordan was saying, they want to charge big bucks to be able to have you get scared into your SBA certification and profiles and all these other good things, and ignore it. throw it away, block them, just do whatever you can because we get a lot of this stuff and every week. So we just want you to be careful there. Also, Sam has been going through some iterations of updates too. And there's been a few glitches. If you have renewed in the last several weeks. They had one that was not giving you that 12-month extension. For those that you don't know, that each time you go into SAM and say you add a NAICS code, for instance, or change a phone number, each time you know you have to go through that pain of going through each page, next, 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 and at the end you submit. Well, if your registration, let's say, would normally expire August 15th, and you go in there in February and make some changes, you will buy another 12 months normally from that February date. But if that doesn't happen, which happened recently, they only gave people like a very short time period. They have notified everybody since then, if you see it on SAM, that is being corrected behind the scenes. So if you were one of those that made changes, double check your expiration date or your inactivity date for next year or whenever, and make sure you do that. And also, if it's coming up soon, please do not wait until the last minute because of all these changes that have been going on. We're finding that it's taking much longer. It's even Cage Code's getting them on new submissions. It's taking longer. So we're working with all the agencies, trying to get everybody of our clients that needs to get registered or renewed. If you're having problems, please reach out to us. We want to make sure that you do not go inactive because if you're inactive, and you have submitted a bid and it comes time for award, if your Cage Code and SAM are not active, you will not receive the award. Furthermore, if you have an invoice waiting to be paid by the government and you go inactive, they will hold up that payment until you get active again, which is horrible for cash flow. So anyhow, I just wanted to make you aware of some of the things that are happening out there. And I know you've been seeing a lot of executive orders flying around and changes and hearing a lot of hot news tips and stories. We're just as uninformed as the rest of you on much of this stuff because it's happening at such a high, speedy level. And we do try and keep up with things. And if you check our website, we do try and keep up on some events there. But also on our website, I wanted to point out that we have a resources tab that has a lot of the links that Jordan spoke about today. So if you don't lose a webinar or you misplace the links to those pages, we're here, but also go to our website and you'll find that and a lot more information too. So we hope you can join us again for other webinars too. So any questions out there? I recognize a few of my clients. I can't believe you tuned in and know it all by now. So come on.
Yeah, if anyone has a question, feel free to type it in the Q&A or type it in the chat and we'll answer it live. And then if not, we'll go ahead and let you go. But remember that you will be getting a copy of this slide presentation as well as this recording. So thank you for that. I don't see any questions. So thank you all so much for your time. Thank you for joining us. And remember, you can sign up with us at MontereyBayApex.org. None of our services we will ever charge for, as well as SBDC, they will not charge either. So make sure that as a business owner, you exhaust all the free resources that are available to you before you go and hire some of these companies that might reach out. And yeah, Rhonda, go ahead.
I just wanted to leave a little teaser at the end here since we're talking about market research today. August and September are the two busiest months at the federal level for inking contracts because the federal fiscal year ends September 30th. And every big giant contractor out there that has an office in DC is running around to every agency they can, getting that last use of their budget money, that use it or lose it funding. And right now, dollars are dear because of all the cutting of budgets and stuff that are going on everywhere. So very much activity out there. So get going on your market research. Now is the hottest time of the year. Okay. Have a good day. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.